Hello, good morning. It's Tracy Daviero here with you from Your VA Mentor for another weekly live. How's everybody hanging in? It's kind of crazy. Well, it's more than crazy. Anyway, um, COVID-19 is everywhere. And if you're anything like me, you are no longer home by yourself. I don't know if you were before. Actually, I think a lot of people were here in where I am were on March break last week. So I think everybody kind of expected to either be on holidays or maybe have everybody home from school and that kind of thing. But 100% expecting everybody to go back and flee to today to get back to normal. So not sure what your normal is or what your normal is this week, but hopefully you are managing. So this is one of the things that I wanted to talk about today for our call is managing distractions. It's one of those things that I think I do relatively well, but when things get sort of thrown into the mix, like I think I do it regularly well when there's nobody else around. But whenever there's all of a sudden people around you or different schedules and that kind of thing, it can be a real challenge, right? So I just want to share a bunch of my tips with you on what you should be looking at if this is something that is starting to become an issue for you or maybe starting to stress you out a little. So, all right, I've got what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, I got like 8 tips to share with you today. So hopefully they are helpful. Pardon me. Number one, make sure that you have a dedicated space for your work. I think that part of the problem comes with not having, sometimes you don't have a home office, and that's okay. Sometimes you're working from, actually, I'm at a desk in the living room right now. I'm going against my own advice here, but I do like to be able to move my laptop around, get a little bit of different visuals and that kind of thing. I do have an office, full office, and I do like to get do a lot of really focused work in there. But it's now with everybody home, I know it's kind of counterproductive. I should probably be in there, well, because they're all home, but at the same time, I like to be able to change up my schedule and take a break whenever I want to. So but whatever it is, you want to have a dedicated space. So if you have trouble with distractions, then you want that space to be private, wherever that is. I have a few different setups in my house. I have one downstairs in our basement. I have my main office, which is where I dump all the stuff. And like I say, I have this desk right here in our main living room, and I'm pretty portable. I have a laptop that I can go anywhere I want. I have in the summertime, I work either on the front deck, which you've seen probably a lot of my videos on the front deck. This year, we got our Wi-Fi moved around. I don't know why I'm telling you all this. It's just one of those things, right? And so I'll actually have proper Wi-Fi on my back deck, which I'm super excited about. So it's totally okay to have, your workstation anywhere you want. It's good to have a number of them. But if you are one of those people who's getting distracted by the people who are around you or by just increased conversation or anything like that, you want to make sure that your dedicated office space that you choose to work in is private, maybe has a door, would be a really good thing, or just everybody else sort of stays out of that room while you are in it. That was not supposed to be so much detail about a dedicated workspace, but you get the idea. Anyway, it's a great thing to do on a regular basis, but distractions, to see if you can have that door closed. So headset, this is one of the things that I find most important in any of the work that I'm doing, is if there's anyone else around, or even if I'm outside, like I say, I work on the front deck and on the back deck of our house. I put headphones in because that really helps me to stop getting distracted by things that are going on around me. Now, of course, I don't walk around with my headset in. That's not what I'm saying. But when you want to focus on the work that you're trying to get done, it's really important to be able to do that. And I like music. I like to be able to put on my Spotify. I have some work playlists that I listen to that are instrumental, and that's what I put on to help me get through, some focused time and that sort of thing. If music isn't your thing, that's okay too. But definitely, a headset can be a really helpful thing to keep out that other distraction, even if there's nothing coming through on your ears. That you're just kind of paying attention to what you're doing, and you're not getting distracted by what's around you. Turning off social media, email, any notifications that you have that pop up. If and again, this is something that a lot of people work with all the time. We used to, I remember having that whenever email and everything first came out, everything would pop up, and let you know that something was going on. email, social media, especially now social media. And it's just, if that's something that distracts you, and you probably, if you still work like that, I would encourage you to stop, because you probably don't think it's bothering you, or not bothering you, but it's probably, you probably don't think it's distracting you, but it really is. So set certain times to go and check on your social media, go and check on your email and that kind of thing, and make sure that the pop-up notifications are not distracting you from your task at hand, especially now, when we have so much more to do, and when there are more people, or probably more people around us in our house, if you're working from home, then, more than usual, we're probably getting distracted. I know for me, usually my house is empty during the day, or at least quiet during the day. So anybody who's distracting me is usually going to be some kind of a notification, or it's going to be me, right? I'm distracting myself all the time. But when you have more people kind of coming around or asking you things or whatever, that can, also sort of factor into it. So I'm not saying ignore everybody in the house. That's not my advice at all. But it's about managing the distractions for a period of time. Right. And I think that's the most important thing, is that you want to have those focused times when you are working on something and you're not trying to get distracted. And so for me, I've always said, set small buckets of time. You'd really, really be surprised if you looked at it, if you were doing a little bit of analysis. I've done this myself, so this is how I know how much work you can get done in a 20-minute period of time. And I'm not saying you have to go at breakneck speed. I'm saying shut everything off, put that music in if you can, and really start to do something for 20 minutes. Be really clear on, the steps you need to take to get it done. You can really get a ton of stuff done in 20 minutes. And so if you look at things like, taking a break once an hour, or, the Pomodoro technique of time management, where, you do 80%, you work for 80% of a period of time, and then, 20% is the break, or, whatever all of those things are, however you want to divide up your time. I've always been a very big advocate of working in 15 or 15 or 20-minute buckets of time. So I'll take what I think I can complete, or what I'd like to be able to complete, in less than a half an hour, and I want to be able to get it done in that time. And so set your phone alarms too. That can be a good distraction, a phone alarm. Set your phone alarm to, to make sure that you, hi Tammy, to stop you at a certain time. Because I think that what part of the thing that happens too is either we get interrupted so many times that we're not as productive as we want to be, or we get right into something and we spend 2 hours doing it. We lose track of time completely because we don't have that stop time. We're not pushing ourselves to say, I need to get this done in an hour because I have 10 other things to do that I need to get done as well. So you want to make sure that you're doing that too. Those are the two things, those are sort of my two big tips on time management, is manage those distractions and make sure that you are, giving yourself a bucket of time to work in. Excuse me, just a minute. So you have that bucket of time. So what you need to do is manage your distractions for that length of time. So that's how those two things go together, right? I don't want to, you don't have to shut your email off all day and never look at it. But if you give yourself an hour to work on something, whatever your task is, and you manage your distractions, you eliminate them for that hour, then you stop and say, okay, now for 15 minutes, I'm going to check and process my email. Now for 15 minutes, I'm going to check and process my social media. That's a half hour of time. Again, with your alarm going off, 15 minutes later, stop your email, stop your social media, and then move back into, okay, now I have to get into that database again, or that newsletter, or that sales page setup, or whatever it is that you're helping your clients with. So you want to make sure that you're managing things that way. So the managing of distractions all day in your job, or in your home office, I should say, it's important to, maybe post your hours that you're going to be doing things. Maybe, what else? Factor in your breaks, writing down what you're, when you're going to be in your office and when you're going to be working and should not be disturbed is an important thing for the people outside your office, but it's also important for you as well. So especially, like I say, if you have extra people in your house at this time, if you don't, this is just really good advice to follow on a regular basis. So you want to be able to do that. But also in terms of the buckets of time that you're working with, you want to manage your distractions, or eliminate your distractions for those periods of time and handle them. What I like to do is create what I call a distractions list. And so when you think of something that you should be doing, or you want to be, say if you're working on a task and you think, oh, I wonder if blah, 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 whatever that thing is, just write it down beside you. Get it out of your head and put it on a list beside you and continue doing what you're doing. You won't forget it then because it's written down, but you don't have to go and jump to it right away and stop what you're doing. First of all, that kind of messes up if you're billing hourly for your clients. It really messes up your concentration, and your billable time, right? So you want to be able to say, okay, I'm working on this. This is what I'm focusing on. And then I'm moving on to the next thing. And then, when you get to that end of that bucket of time, however long that is, and your little alarm goes off, you say, oh, what was it that I wanted to look up? Yeah, I'm going to give myself 10 minutes to look that up right now. It's really all about really honestly managing the time that you have during the day so that you're maximizing, first of all, your work output and your billable time, but also your energy, maybe your connection with everybody else in the household at whatever point, that balance, all those kinds of things. It's really, really important. So what else do I have on my list here? So turn off focus timer, breaks, distraction list. I've covered it all just like that. Holy cow. What's that last thing? Yeah, post your schedule. There you go. So dedicated office space, headset with music or not. Turn off your email and social media for distractions. Focus timers and alarms on your cell phone or egg timer, if that works for you too. Schedule breaks and, make sure that you're saying, like I can take a 10-minute break. You don't have to do everything in hours or half hours or anything like that. Make a distractions list so that if something does pop up while you're working on something that you're trying to remain focused on, you have it written down, it's out of your brain, you can go back to focusing on the task at hand, and you can handle that on one of your breaks. Set up buckets of time, give yourself a stop and a start time, make sure that those are very, very important things. I'm starting at 11 o'clock, but it's not a never-ending task. If you give yourself 2 hours to write a blog post, you're going to take 2 hours to write a blog post. If you give yourself 30 minutes to write it, you're going to sit down and get more organized, and you're going to take that 30 minutes and you're going to write it. Trust me, I've seen this happen. I've actually done it myself. And the last thing is post your schedule. It's good for your brain as well to know, and this is, of course, post your schedule only if, like on a piece of paper on your office door, so that your family knows when you are working, when you're going to take breaks. And if you have to manage to take, longer breaks now because there are people home and maybe you're going to have a meal together, which actually that's something I'm really enjoying, is having meals together with my husband and my son. So usually I'm a pretty quick eater, and we kind of get it in and get it out. So it's kind of nice to have a little bit of company. I'm not going to want it, forever, but for now I'm actually really enjoying that. So I am looking forward to booking that kind of time into my calendar. So I hope those are helpful tips for you. And I would love to hear what you are doing for time management, for managing distractions, for productivity, for getting more done in this unusual time when, so many more people seem to be working from home, right? Because they can't go out. So let me see if we've got any questions here. No questions. Excellent. It's nice to see you. And I'll see you here next week. Thanks.